Welcome back to Click Talk. We're doing a case study on a merger and acquisitions that we at RightClick did when, 2025?
Yeah, last summer.
Last summer. And so, as we said in the previous video, Sunbelt Solomon, a company with about 1,200 people, was acquiring a company called Magna.
Correct.
About 300 people. After our due diligence, with enough time, we decided, given the maturity of the smaller tenant, that rather than merge the smaller tenant into the larger tenant, we were going to do the reverse. Merge the larger tenant into the smaller M365 tenant. And so, as we talked about previously, that required time for the due diligence, and that required clear governance to make the proposal and then have an easy decision-making process to get all the stakeholders on board. But that's just the beginning.
Right.
Right? You do the due diligence, you have a plan on paper, but then there's the actual matter of doing this out-of-the-box solution.
Right.
Implementation. So Baiju and Christian came up with the implementation plan. Walk us through the early stages of once it was agreed upon, like, oh no, how are we going to do this?
Yeah, so one thing that Sunbelt has been acquiring companies kind of throughout its recent history. So there was they had a company in Alabama that they had not fully integrated into their system. There was an entity in Connecticut, and then there was an entity in Vancouver or Western Canada.
Okay.
And so they were kind of, and then there was the rest of Sunbelt Solomon that we need to be migrated. But so what we did is we broke it into 4 phases. And so we did the Alabama location first, which was I think about 20-ish people. The one in Connecticut was similar, and then the one in Vancouver maybe had a few extra 25, 30 people. But yeah, but what we were able to do because of this migration is get some of the stuff that they had wanted to get done from the beginning, like have them on CrowdStrike, which is what the security software they use, get them on, kind of their RMM system, and basically make them more of like a managed computer that they're used to managing, like their other computers in their Sunbelt.
Yeah, right. We talked about this before. When your user population is in the midst of the change, it's best you can throw in other changes at the same time because they have the expectation, okay, well, this is going to be down, this is going to take a while. Whereas if you just let it linger for months and months, it's pretty disruptive. Okay, so you broke it into 4 organizational units, and then you came up with a script, and then you sat in the RightClick office here in beautiful Irvine, California, with a view of the airport, right, Baiju? And you just clicked the button, and then you just folded your hands, and you just watch it execute across.
Yes,
each
that is
unit.
Exactly what happened. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, or fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, I traveled to Alabama, got stuck at the airport coming back, but we can talk about that later. We're boots on the ground because for us, when we're doing something so disruptive, it makes a big difference to be there with the users, helping them set up their MFA, helping them, making sure. And then like I was saying, we were doing this additional work of removing the Sentinel-1, adding CrowdStrike, joining them to Azure AD. So all of that took a lot of effort and time that if we were all trying to do it remotely, it would have gone poorly.
Yeah, I think that's sort of a unique RightClick thing, I feel, where you could plan for the contingencies. You could be like, okay, this could be weird. It could cause a reboot. But in our experience, there's so many curveballs in these kind of processes that boots on the ground, it's in our roadmap. Like, okay, we're sending people there. Okay, so you did the phase 1, you went to Alabama.
Yes.
Alone?
I went alone. But I had our team, our remote team there with me. I would say they did most of the work. I was around there making sure the computer was on, making sure we had people's passwords, and then kind of coordinating, saying like, okay, these 5 computers have been done. They're 100% done. We put a little sticker on them. These 5 were pending. And then, so then I would tell them like, hey, do this one, do this one.
So you're at a hotel in Alabama and then you're just pressing the button to execute.
Once again, I'm actually at the customer site.
Okay.
Running around their office.
Right. So like just to paint the picture, you're at the client's office like on a Saturday morning.
Yes. The idea was they wanted to do it Monday morning. So we got in early. What we thought we'd be giving people computers back around 10 or 11 turned into kind of 12, 1 o'clock. So on the next one, we leveraged the weekend too.
Yeah, right. So again, that's like those curveballs that you lay out the best plan.
Right.
You think it's a 15-minute handover, and each computer is like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
So you went there Saturday. Again, you're just walking around computer to computer.
Correct.
Getting our team to make the thing, marking it done, moving on to the next one.
Right.
Anything weird you encountered? Blue screens, not rebooting?
We did not, but because these other 3 entities were not part of the Sunbelt mix, they were being managed by other MSPs. So we ran into issues like we couldn't uninstall Sentinel-1 because we needed the uninstall key. So we had to call the other MSP. And then just the whole converting the profile from a local domain to an Azure AD, that took a little longer than we thought. So like I said, on the Alabama one, we tried to do it first thing Monday morning. I think we got in there at like 6 a.m. or 5 a.m., something like that. But going forward, what we did is we arrived there on Friday. We worked most of Saturday to get everything set up. Sunday was kind of a lighter day. It was just maybe a little bit of cleanup. And then we were there early Monday morning to help users.
Oh yeah. Okay, that's important too. So switching to the weekend, you don't fly home on Sunday.
No.
Okay, you're there Monday because, again, our experience has told us there's always curveballs,
yes.
Right? And like, one thing I'll say about Right Click, we're a fast twitch team, right? All those years of curveballs, we are attuned to that. Okay, so that was Alabama. We got 3 other sites. You send one person out. What's the game plan for these other sites?
So for those first 3 sites, it was I went to 2, Jim went to 1, and then we had about 3 or 4 remote folks handling it. So out of the 1,200 users, the first 3 phases only probably covered 100 and change of the users, maybe 100, 150. So the large majority of the work was in phase 4. The nice thing about Sunbelt is they were all, or most of the users were based in an office.
Okay.
So there was 4 locations. There was Pennsylvania, there was Texas, there was Tennessee. So we actually deployed teams of 2 people to each location to ensure that the users there, when they walked in Monday morning, had a good experience. We were able to resolve their issues very quickly when they came in Monday morning. Because, we had to reset up their Outlook, their Teams, their OneDrive. Some of them had to redo their MFA because they were on their, they had email on their mobile phones, or remove the account from their mobile and then re-add it to their mobile phone.
Yeah, and I think that kind of gets to something you were talking about the other day, where it's like, we know this is going to be bumpy and disruptive. We could just sit back and push the button and run some automation that switches over. And then if they have issues, we could kind of deal with it. But like, there's a service side to this as
Absolutely.
well, right? We do the plan, we do the diligence, but like the end users are also our constituents, like who we care about. Like what's your service approach to this thing?
Yeah, so we did a lot of communication ahead of time. We created a whole video library of, here's how to set up Outlook, or here's how to remove your Outlook profile. Here's how to add an Outlook profile on a Mac, a PC, on your Android device, on your iPhone device, if you're using Outlook or if you're using the native. Like, we had probably 12 videos. What we also did is we set up a special hotline number for people to call into.
Okay.
So if they were, maybe working remotely that day or traveling or whatever, so they could just call us. It gave the end users multiple ways to get in touch with us. So that when they came in at 8 a.m., whatever local time, hopefully by 9, they're up and running like they normally are.
Right. So first off, a lot of warning ahead of time. So it's not a surprise. Boots on the ground. Friendly face, willing to help the morning of the change.
Right.
And then a hotline in case you're remote. You could call directly and someone's like, oh, this is part of this migration. Let me help you with your mobile. Let me help you with your, reconfigure Outlook. Right. Would we say it's a success? Did it any bumps or anything else we did?
Yeah, I mean, there were some bumps that we discovered. So I think there were some small bumps, which were, people had OneNote where we had to relink it and things like that. So that was probably, that didn't get fixed in the first couple hours. We had to do a little bit of research on that. I would say the thing that probably none of us anticipated, the customer or us, was the amount of power apps that people had. So we had to, this was kind of this like shadow IT, I'd say. Like people just set these things up and it wasn't under, like, IT never knew about it.
Right.
So stuff broke. Like there was a report that, updated data automatically. And because it wasn't talking in the same tenant as it was before, or the OneDrive wasn't the same tenant as it was before, it couldn't talk to the data. So I would say those things probably took another week or so. They had about 40 power apps that we had to fix. So those took some time. We went through them with the customer. They said, these are the top 5. And then, we fixed those and kind of worked our way down the list. But I think that was the one thing we didn't account for. That was a real curveball for us. But pretty much everything else went pretty smooth. I would say by end of day Monday of the migration, 90% of the users were good. And then for the next 2-3 days, we were there. We had a group chat with the internal IT team for Sunbelt and Magna. And if they were busy and they couldn't help somebody, we would, jump on it. But, they were very helpful as well.
Great. Yeah. And, thanks for watching, everyone. If you want your migration experience as good as possible, any suggestions, Baiju?
Number one, having a customer that's receptive to our ideas and really focused on the planning and coordination aspect of it really makes things move along nicely. So it's a real partnership between us and the customer. We have some really key stakeholders at Sunbelt and Magna that really kind of made the process relatively smooth on our side. But then also on our side, we like to try and, like you were saying, the end users are who we are serving. So we wanted to give them as good of that first day experience, kind of like when that first day they start the job, they want their computer to be set up, everything to be ready. We wanted to have their migration experience to be as good as it. Definitely give us a call. Even if you don't call us, I would just say plan ahead, communicate to your users, give them as much information as you can, because as long as they know what's going on and they know what to expect, their expectation, and you set their expectations like, hey, it's going to be a bumpy couple hours. We're going to be there to support you. I think that goes a long way in making the user experience much better.
Right on. That's it for Click Talk for this week. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.